How's everybody doing? Glenn Mercurio, GS6gun from Gemstar Custom Razors here. Hey, listen, one of the guys over at the Shave Den, I have been recommending for people that don't actually hone but just want to refresh their razors. You know, you guys that own like 5-10 razors and you don't want to keep sending them out for honing and you just want to keep a well-honed razor up to snuff. And you can do this a ton of different ways. I mean, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different finishers out here on the honing bench right now, plus the Naniwa 12k here in the tub. You can use any of these to refresh. I have been recommending the Naniwa 12k, now called the Super Stone, used to be called the Specialty Stone. I don't know, for probably, I think I started recommending it probably about 10 years ago, 2009, maybe 2010. And there's a reason for it. One, price. Okay, this is a quality hone that is less than $100. Sometimes you can find it way less than $100. You're talking 70 to 80 bucks out there. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is it was actually designed to work like an actual Japanese water stone. So it was designed to work like a J-Nat. You can actually use slurry with the specialty stones. Oh my God, surprise. I'm gonna blow apart a few myths during this little video here. So it's very, very versatile. It also, I'll be honest with you, I own a lot of finishers. From the Chapton 30k, the Naniwa 12k, there's an Escher sitting there, there's a J-Nat sitting there, there's a Codical, Zulus, Chinese. There's a lot of finishers right here in front of me, and I'll tell you something. You are going to be hard pressed to beat that Naniwa 12k with any stone at any price. Okay? Yes, there's slight differences in how it feels on your face, but to really beat it, you're going to really have to, it's more here than what you buy. So that being said, it's one of the best buys out there for people that just want to maintain their razors. This right here, some of you people that used to be on SRP long ago, this is a LH Mac from Columbus, Ohio. It was made in Hamburg, Germany, and imported in. It actually says standard on it. This razor will outshave just about, it's one of the best razors I've ever owned, and I've owned it since 2007. Little 4/8 Mac, I call it Mac the Knife. Some of you people that are from the old SRP, from the old days, the 2007, 2008 years, remember me talking about this razor. Anyway, this razor has not been honed since then. The last time it was honed was on a Norton 8K. Probably has about 40 shaves on it since then. And I just shaved with it yesterday for my wife, and I had to go to a wake, and I used it to shave yesterday, and I decided that I would use this, one of my special razors, for this video. One of the things I will say right now, sitting over here in this tub is the Naniwa 12k. There's been a lot of talk about this, about soaking them, and here's what I've found, especially with the old specialty, or the old super stones, okay, the old formula. It's a new formula now, so it's supposed to be better. These don't actually warp. What they do is they swell. And I use warm water, and I'll soak it for about 5 minutes. And I know this has been going on for years. I had the Japanese instructions translated for me. Huge surprise, that's what it says in the instructions, is to soak the stone, wet the stone, for about 5 to 10 minutes. Woohoo! Big surprise there, right guys? Anyway, if you let it soak, or if you wet the stone and you wait 5 to 10 minutes, the stone is actually going to, it will straighten itself out. A lot of people lap these things to death trying to get them flat. And if you let it stabilize, most of the time it's flat again, okay? I'm also going to be using the Shapton diamond glass plate today. You don't need one. It's the biggest waste of money there is out there. $300 and something for a lapping plate. Just get yourself a DMT or a Toma or the Trend, any of the other ones. This is $300. I have it because I bought the whole Shapton system, being an idiot back in the day. So I have it sitting here, and it works really, really well. But $300, you could buy, what, 5 DMTs at that price. And they're both 325s, okay? So any plate that's around 325 or 400 grit is going to work fine for all of your water hones. Anyway, so I'm letting that stabilize, making sure that's clean of all the other grit. And next, let's bust another myth real quick. Okay, this razor has about 40 shaves on it. It was probably taped when I honed it in 2007 or 2008. Big surprise, guys, that doesn't matter, all right? The way a razor works is when you're shaving, it's getting all these little dings and jags in it from your beard, okay? And then you strop it, and it smooths that back out. Then you shave, then it's strop, then you shave, then you strop, and this continued dinging it and smoothing it and dinging it and smoothing it. It's pushing the edge back every time you do that, okay? So by the time you get ready to refresh, the very idea that one layer of tape makes a difference to that edge is absolutely ludicrous. You see this all the time with people saying, well, you need to know if it was taped before you refresh it. Trust me, you don't need to know that. The safe way to do it is to put a layer of tape on it. If you don't want to tape, don't tape. It's really not going to make any difference at all. If you do tape, use a good quality tape. I happen to use 3M 700. And make sure you put it on nice and smooth and even. One layer should do it for any type of honing to protect the spine. For corrective honing, that's a different story. That's a whole different thing if you're using more than one layer of tape. Okay? And to be accurate, one layer of 700, that thickness of tape, is going to change the bevel angle approximately 0.067 or 0.67 degrees on a 6/8 inch razor. Okay, so if your razor is standard at 16, let's just say 16 degrees or 17 degrees, you're going to raise the angle less than 1 degree on a 6/8 inch razor, just so you know. Again, it really makes no difference. Okay, because the edge has already been beat upon and stropped out, the old bevel angle is completely obliterated by now. After 40 shaves, 20 shaves or so, you completely obliterated that bevel angle, and it really doesn't matter. The other thing is it really doesn't take any time at all. We are talking sub-micron levels of distance to correct on a regular edge. Okay, it just doesn't take that long. I have another video out there that explains tape versus no tape, and I show it live in real time that it just really doesn't make a difference. Okay, so that out of the way, one layer of tape. Refresh. What a refresh is to bring it back. And the Naniwa 12k is very, very good at this because it's such a versatile hone. And I'm going to show you some tricks on this. One thing I do is on every finisher especially, but on every hone, I always do about 5 or so figure eights before I start honing. Okay, then I cut the edge, and I move on. Okay, that amount of slurry on there, that little tiny amount of slurry, helps me do whatever I want to do. On this particular razor, I'm going to reset the edge. I'm going to use a technique, it's called Japanese honing, but everybody's come up with their own name for it. It's originally a Japanese style of honing. It's a back and forth stroke. And I'm going to explain something to you. It's not straight up and down the hone. Never ever hone straight up and down the hone. Perpendicular to the hone, don't do this. Okay, you're going to create a frown. It's just the way it works. You can try it yourself and figure it out for yourself, or you can listen to me. This stroke, when I do it, especially if I speed up, is going to look like I'm doing that, but I'm actually starting with the heel forward position, and I'm swooping the stroke as I come through it. So it's an X angle swoop as I'm coming through it. Okay, what I'm looking for right here is I'm watching that slurry start right back here at the heel and move all the way forward to the toe. This also eliminates the problem if the blade's got a little warp in it. Most do. If the spine's a little bit off, most are. Okay, there's very few perfect razors out there, but you can see that ripple of water in front of the edge or riding up on top of the edge. And it's self-correcting, by the way, guys. The sharper the edge gets, it will ride up on there, and the less pressure you use. Also, it's not talked about much, but there's two types of movements, two types of pressure, really, that you're looking at. Everybody knows not to put downward pressure on the spine. Okay, everybody talks about that. No pressure, no pressure, no pressure. What they don't talk about is you need to torque the blade. And what I mean by torque is you need to twist this like a screwdriver into the stone. So the edge goes into the stone. There's a slight amount of torque there. Basically what I'm doing is I'm watching that ripple of swarfing water, and I make sure that the entire edge is contacting the hone at all times as it moves. If it's not, and that water goes underneath the edge, you're not honing anymore. It has to be at the front. Don't be afraid to use two hands. I use both, two hands and one hand. You've seen from all my videos. But especially when you're making sure everything is right, use the two hands. Build it in. Now right now I'm doing some X strokes as I'm talking. It's just easier for me. But one of the other tricks to honing is a Sharpie. And what you can do is anytime you're unsure of how your bevel's contacting, and I'll tell you right now, I already know this bevel's contacting, I can see it from here. But if you're unsure of it, if you're unsure of a bevel, just paint the bevel. I use red. My eyesight, I see the red better than I see the black. Give it half a second to dry. Don't do this with slurry on the hone, okay? It won't count. It needs to be a clean hone. And then very lightly, do a few strokes. The same way you're going to do a stroke. Don't correct, just do a few strokes. Okay? Try not to rub it, just kind of tap it dry. And what you're looking for is to make sure that the contact is from toe to heel and even. I use a well-lit LED loop. It's rated at 40, but I seriously doubt if it's really 40. And this lets me really see what's going on with the edge. I can really look at it. I can see exactly if I have any issues, if something needs to be pushed. Okay? And looking at this, front side of the razor towards the heel, I need to give it a little push. So what I'm doing is I'm putting that spot right there on the hone, and I'm going to put 2 fingers on it. I'm going to do about 3 or 4 pushes. Okay? Now I see it come together, and I'm going to smooth it out. So now I've pushed that little spot into line with the rest of the edge. Okay, so now I have a clean, even bevel. All right, now back to refreshing. So I do about, notice every time, about 5 figure-8s, cut the edges. Okay? You're beveling those edges off. Especially on these Naniwas, because they're so soft that if the shoulder catches that, it'll chip it. Okay, so now I'm going to do the Japanese honing. Trust me on this, I know what it's going to look like on the video. So trust me on this, especially Danny over at the Shaved End. You're the one that kind of inspired me to do this video. I always talk about using a Naniwa 12k for refreshing, and I've never done an actual refresh video. So, I'm going to set it with the heel forward. I'm going to put just a little bit of torque towards the edge, and I'm going to move forward slowly, watching the ripple, and I'll speed up a little bit. And I'm going to do about 20 laps, or 20 strokes. Now keep in mind, 20 back and forth is 40x. Okay, it's the same thing. Okay, right after that I'm going to do a few X strokes to make sure that I blended everything perfectly together. So we have just a little bit of swarf working on there, a little bit of slurry working on there. And I'm making sure I feel all the way through and that it's nice and smooth from heel to toe. Clean it up, take another look, check your work. Now you should have a bright, shiny, perfectly smooth new bevel on there. All the way from heel to toe. It should be quite obvious. Okay, now I'm liking the way this looks. The only thing I don't like about it is I got a little bit of a heel working up. So I'm going to take that out with this DMT 325 just by putting the heel right there on the stone, on the DMT plate. I'm going to take that little tiny sharp spot out just to make sure it never comes in there into play. And it really doesn't take much more than that. Just want to make sure that that's nice, rounded. Yeah, there we go. Okay, since I did that, put a little bit more water on it and make sure that there's no grabbies back there. A few more blending strokes. Okay, so now we have reset everything back to square one. Now I'm going to rinse that 12K, and we're going to go about 5, really super light. I'm still watching that ripple of water, making sure the ripple of water is even. Notice I start off kind of slow at first, and then I give it a little speed. About 5 at a time. Okay, now we're going to go X strokes to blend it out. A few finishing strokes out there. Okay, now on a lot of these high-end synthetics, you can use what's called a 3-2-1 finish, and what that means is you don't want the little sparklies. Okay, what I mean by sparklies, if you're actually taking a USB picture of this, you'll end up with the white line at the top. We tend to call those the sparklies. What that is kind of a harsh little edge that sometimes synthetics give. This doesn't have it right now, but you can get it. And you can eliminate that really easy by doing a 3-2-1. What does 3-2-1 mean? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, and then 1. Finish. You can do it straight. Also, you can go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 back, or 1, 2 backstroke, 1 forward. And also, it's not strictly 3-2-1. You can do 4-3, 4-3-2. You can do 5-3-2. You can do whatever you want. Basically, what you're doing is you're going back and forth on it, and it will eliminate the sparklies. The reason there were no sparklies on this is because I used that Japanese stroke to begin with, so I pretty much got rid of them right off the get-go. Now I've got a real bright, clean, finished edge on this. Also, this is your hand stropping. This is when it's really effective to use it. Do a little bit of hand stropping there, and it'll show you what your clean edge looks like. If you ever want to do that, really effective right there. I'm going to do just a couple more. I see just a few tiny little spots that could be better. I'm going super light X strokes here. Bazinga. Perfect timing. Okay. Now the edge is done to my eye. And that's basically a real quick way of doing a refresh. Again, it doesn't have to always be on a Naniwa 12k, but I've always recommended if you're going to buy one hone and one hone only, just to refresh your razors and keep them up to par, that Naniwa 12k is hard to beat. Okay, but any finisher will do it. Any finisher that's face friendly to you will do it. But you're going to be hard pressed to beat that Naniwa 12k at that price, at any price. So anyway, that is a quick lesson on how to refresh on the Naniwa 12k. Once again, GS6 gun, Glenn Mercurio from Gemstar Custom Razors. Thanks for watching.